Hello, YouTube. Thank you for joining me for this DebateCraft production of the first episode of On the Spot, the show where we have a member of the DebateCraft community join us, and we put them on the spot by asking them questions submitted by the DebateCraft community. Joining me for this episode is Mike, aka Mikal, a very well-known member of the community. Mike, are you nervous, excited, or indifferent to being put on the spot?
All of that. I don't know what this is, but let's roll with it.
All right. Well, we're going to ask you some questions here, and I am very curious to know some of the answers. The questions are going to be kind of all over the place. Question 1. What is the greatest movie ever made?
Let me think. That's a hard one. Yeah, I know this is better to be on the spot. Gut reaction. This is going to sound probably stupid, but if I were going with it, it's either Titanic or Avatar would be my gut two picks. The first Avatar, I think it did box office sales that just are
You're
almost
just choosing like the highest grossing films of all time. All right.
Well, I mean, but there's a reason they're the highest grossing films of all time, right? Think about like a lot of people would laugh at the Avatar suggestion. But I think if you look back and like from a culture perspective, when it came out, it was one of the first movies to do 3D. It was like one of the first movies to do major 3D stuff in IMAX. And the story and what they were conveying in that was like something that was lasting. I still remember seeing that movie when I was a kid, and it was really freaking good. So from that perspective, I mean, to me, if I were picking for myself, Avatar, I think probably the objective answer, in my opinion, is possibly Titanic. I think Titanic is just a classic that's timeless, and it's going to be timeless for the next like 100 years, if not more. I think that's one of those movies like Gone with the Wind. You're going to go back and look, and it's just going to continually be good. But for me, I think Avatar. Just growing up as a kid, the culture impact, everything that I said, I loved it.
Fair enough. That's a good answer. I mean, you're answering a movie that obviously had cultural impact. Both of those movies were the highest grossing films at the time they were released, Titanic, and then Avatar released and beat Titanic for highest grossing film. I don't necessarily put those anywhere close to my top 10 list of like favorite movies. I've seen them both naturally. I was hoping you would give me an answer that was like, what is one of your favorite movies? But you answered the question properly, I suppose. We're answering, historically, what's the greatest movie ever made? So it's your opinion, and I appreciate it. Okay, next question. Mike, do you have a political opinion that you could consider to be controversial, and what is it?
Yeah, fuck ICE.
Is that controversial?
I think that's pretty kind. I mean, it's like what I don't know what the population split is on it right now, but there's enough of dumb people that approve of the Gestapo and the mass murdering terrorist group that is ICE. So, for a lot of reasons, fuck ICE. I think you wanted me to expound on it. I don't think they're a military police force. I don't think they're trained. I think they are running rampant in communities and using very unfair means to find people. We've went over this in some of our other videos. But like out of all the political stances that I'm the most passionate about, fuck them. Fuck them horribly. That's not saying I'm not opposed to immigration. I think immigration and even deporting people in the right manner makes sense. The means they're using to do that is fucking disgusting, so fuck them.
I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm not even sure that that's really that controversial right now. I think we've gotten to a point, even from the moderate right, where people are kind of agreeing and shifting away from sympathy. Even while there's plenty of nuance, I'm not sure that you're gonna be in trouble saying an opinion like that right now. So I don't think it's that controversial. You don't have to, because you did answer the question if that's what you believe is a controversial opinion. But feel free to share another one.
Trump's an Oompa Loompa. Like, I think they found him from the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Like,
all right.
100%. They exported him.
That one, I think at least 50% of the country is probably laughing, if not more. Because even people that are Trump supporters probably think that's a funny image. So I appreciate that. Okay. Next question. This one requires a little bit of setup. So, bear with me while I'm going to regale you with the setup of this question, and then I'll have the question at the end. It'll be very clear when I'm done. Okay, you ready for this question?
Shoot.
Mike, I don't know if you know this about me, but I and my family are Northern Hemispherian. I mean, in other words, that means we come from the Northern Hemisphere. We're native to the Northern Hemisphere. We are indigenous Northern Hemispherians. This is not in dispute. Canada is not. Canada is occupying Northern Hemispherian land, and we shouldn't tolerate this. It's an evil European colonial settlement. It's bad. In its wisdom, the UN has actually heard my pleas of hatred for this rogue state of Canada. It's agreed to provide me and my million family members with permanent refugee status in perpetuity, so that our struggle against Canadianism can be resolved, and it won't be resolved until the occupation by Canada of the Northern Hemisphere is ended. So in other words, me and my Northern Hemispherian brothers and sisters will be, as a matter of both political and diplomatic reality, resisting the existence of the Canadian state forever. And to be clear, we don't have a problem with Canada or the Canadian people, just with Canadianism, which I suppose argues that both should exist, and we certainly don't, but I digress. It's just Canadianism. This occupation of Northern Hemispherian land needs to come to an end, and to make that happen, my Northern Hemispherian comrades will camp on the Canadianism's regime's border and occasionally cause them some discomfort, while the rest of the world is perfectly fine with this because they don't like the Canadians anyway, and it's making for a fun cottage industry of resistance and virtual signaling. So to be clear, we have Canadianism that we want to bring to an end to end the Canadian occupation of Northern Hemisphere. So Mike, my question is this. Do you have any issue with the Northern Hemispherian agenda? In what way is this not an exact analogy to the Palestinian cause?
Damn. Get processing. I thought it was one of those things where it was like, does Wyoming exist? And then that took a turn. God, that's a whole hour. Yeah, I mean, the parallel. I see the parallel you're making, but would you? Oh man,
you can ask any clarifying questions you want. I understand. I just put a whole lot of shit on you right there. I am happy to clarify any parts of this that you want. I realize that's a lot of stuff to say, and certainly the most controversial thing in this video is going to come from what I just said, and not your answer about not liking ICE a whole lot. So,
do you think the Palestinian people are not have they never been a state? Is that the underlying point you're trying to make? Is
I'm making no point other than what I said. If you're asking that question, is this not analogous because Palestine has never been a state? Is that the question you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously that's the point, right? Is like Northern Hemisphere.
So Palestine is a regional descriptor. So I'm using Northern Hemisphere as a regional descriptor to make that to frame that question. Yes. We could use other analogies. I mean, if America as a country fell, like we had some type of invasion by Russia or something, and America fell, leaving America kind of in a state where we don't know what states exist or something. If a group of people called the East Coastians suddenly existed and said, okay, the state of New York doesn't exist because East Coastia is now this regional descriptor that is claiming, sovereignty over it, that would be analogous too. But again, I'm not trying to be needlessly reductive. I'm trying to find where the first principles of disagreement with this analogy lie, and I'm not sure where that is.
Canada has moose. You can't just take over Canada. They have things Palestine doesn't.
Okay, so you're saying it's okay for Palestine not to exist, but Canada has to exist because it has moose.
Yes.
All right, that's an answer I respect. Are you done with that question, I guess?
I don't know how to answer that question in a way that is going to be so. I think the analogy is very, I hate to say appropriate, but I understand where you're framing it from. And I think any way that I answer that, we're probably going to spend the next hour going into, is Palestine a state? Was it a state? Is it a group of people? Is it?
Well, I mean, the answer to all those things, well, is it a state? No. Was it a state? No. Is it a group of people? Yes. We can, by definition, say, yes, it's a group of people currently. I mean, both politically and via other means, we can, yes, now group it as a group of people. However, that obviously misses some nuance of the conversation. So I guess we will say that there is certainly going to be some people that disagree with that analogy. Please leave those comments in the comments. DebateCraft and its community would love to argue with about it. Mike, do you have any other thoughts before we end this episode?
Moose is great.
I agree. Moose is great. They are delicious. If it's a thing that people eat, if they don't, I don't know, because I don't believe I've ever eaten moose. Thank you so much for watching this episode of On the Spot. We appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please comment. If you have any opinions that are different than what you just heard Mikal say, we would love to hear it in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.